Stock screen, product restrictions. There are two main types of restrictions on NuEPOS. The first is a simple age restriction. So let's talk about that one first. And the second one will be more complex restrictions that have to satisfy certain conditions, such as you have to belong to a certain group, or you have to buy so many, or you can't buy too many, that kind of thing. So let's start with a simple example. Let's say that Jack Daniel's Double has an age restriction. So find the property that says age restriction and put 18 in there. That means you have to be over 18 for this product. For the single though, let's be awkward and put 16 in there. And I'll show you why I'm putting two different numbers in a minute. Obviously they'd all be 18 if that's the legal age in your country. Press close. Go to the sales mode. And if we find Jack Daniel's single, tick, it will say, is the customer over 16? And will show the date of birth that they would be if they are over 16. Press tick. Now the cart is set to 16. If you press the black button there, you can see that this cart has been verified for an age of 16. But if I sell a Jack Daniel's Double now, it will ask me again, is the customer over 18? Press tick. And now the cart is allowed an age of 18 or upwards. So you may find that knives, for example, could be an age restriction of 16, or lottery tickets, that kind of thing. But if it's an alcoholic beverage or anything like that, it may have a different age restriction, say 18, 21, that kind of thing. So you could have occasions where it actually asks multiple times. So that's the most basic type. You will also find that in edit product, and under additional fields there is an age restriction box there. So I'm going to set it back to 0 so that there is no age restriction for either of Jack Daniel's there. And we will do a different type of restriction. So again, that's just very straightforward. Set all products that have age restrictions, just set them to 18 or 21 or whatever the age is. Now, for more complicated restrictions, go to Stock Functions, Stock Manager. We'll just press search. So we can see here we've got Jack Daniel's there. What we're going to do is we're going to say that you can only buy these products if you are a particular customer, or you belong to a certain customer group. So for things like high-end fertilizers, you may only be allowed to buy them if you've got a license. Firearms or ammunition, you would have to belong to a customer group that has that particular property. So there are other examples. Another good example, by the way, would also be to stop bulk buying. So during the COVID pandemic, you will have the toilet rolls. You could say you can only buy so many of a certain product, and so on. So let's get on with it. Let's go to Setup Tools, Product Restrictions. And what we're going to do is we're going to add a new profile. So we're going to give it a name. We'll say, well, I could call it just example, I suppose. So let's just do that. Example profile. Obviously, you would give it a more appropriate name. Press Edit Conditions and then decide what the restriction is. So you could say minimum quantity per product or per group. Per group means you have to buy a certain number of them, of all the items that we're going to specify in a minute. This one means you have to buy a certain amount of each product that is in the list. Usually you'd use maximum. You can only buy so many of a certain thing. So for example, paracetamol, you may say you can only buy so many, or do it by weight instead, maximum amount of weight. You can limit by the sale date. So you can say this product can only be sold on these dates, or exclude certain dates. So you could say between these two dates, except for this one. You can also limit days of the week as well. So if this product can only be sold on a Thursday, then press tick, and that's all you have to do. More commonly, though, would be limit customer groups or limit customers. You can even limit to just loyalty customers only. So as long as they're a loyalty customer, it doesn't matter, or exclude all loyalty customers. So if we limit a customer group, we haven't got any there at the moment, so I'm going to limit by a customer. Okay, that's opened up on my second window here. So we'll just choose this one here, tick. So the only way you can buy Jack Daniels now is if you belong to that group there. Lastly, or second to last, you can also limit by staff. So only a certain staff member can sell these. So SQP products, that kind of thing. You can set restrictions up so only they can buy them. You can also do it by store. So only certain stores can sell certain products as well. For more advanced scenarios, you can contact us and we can write SQL code where any kind of restrictions you've got, we can write for you if it's outside the scope of these buttons here. So I'm just going to leave it on limit customer. Close that. Next job, edit stock items. We need to teach it what goes in this. So anything with the word Jack Daniels in. So all those three, add. Okay, that's all you do. You can turn it on and off as well, by the way, if you no longer need the restrictions but don't want to delete them. Let's close that and let's try it out. So if we go to sales mode and we press find item, Jack Daniels, let's put all three in. As you can see, all of the products are restricted. But if we select, it's come up on the screen, if we select NuEPOS there, the restrictions disappear because we said that you have to limit it to that customer only. You could have had multiple customers as well, by the way. There's no need for and or ors, just throw the lot in. As long as they belong to one of those restriction groups, they're fine. Now, if I unselect the customer like that, you can see it's restricted. Because I'm logged in with full access, I can just press cache and it will ask me, warning, one or more items are restricted. Do you want to override the restrictions? If you say yes, it will override them. Now, if I just put £10 in and say yes, that only applies to those three items. So what might have happened is a junior member of staff may have been serving, you come along, approve the restriction override, and then they continue serving, but they buy something else that we haven't authorized. So this one will then need unrestricted as well. So when I press cache, I want to say yes, and then the transaction is then allowed to go through. The restriction is under software settings, security, and if we just type in the word restrictions, override product restriction rules. So I've currently got it set that only supervisors upwards can override a restriction. Another way of doing it as well, rather than actually having to put money in or take the payment, you can draw a quick button on the screen wherever you want, add a function, and override product restrictions. Tick. So what that's going to do is, again, a junior member staff's logged in, you come along, if I just put Jack Daniels in there, like that, you could come along, put your fingerprint in or log in, press the button, all products currently in the cart will now not be subject to any product restrictions, that's great, press tick, and that's it. Then you would lock the screen, they then log in with a lower level of access, and can continue serving with the items. So there are many good usage examples of when you want to use restrictions. We've seen things from only allowed to have so many fireworks be sold. Again, paracetamol levels, SQP for pet industries, anything like that, especially obviously when it comes to things like ammunition and firearms. You can group customers and only they can buy certain products because they've already been pre-screened and shown identification to say that they're allowed to buy them. So all of that is located within product restrictions there.